Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we're back on the Stitches Challenger. We're going to be working on this bottom of this window area that's all rotted out and looks like Swiss cheese. My buddy Matt will be here real soon to help me work on it, and we'll get into it. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
Well, here we are. Matt's here. Say hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
So we're going to dig into today doing this bottom of this window and stuff like that. And so I thought we would start by removing the old trim studs. I think they're just garbage, but we need to get them out of there. And then let's take the big 6-inch grinder with 24 grit and just clean this area up. And once we get that done, to be sure that this panel is okay from here to here, then I'll feel confident that we can go ahead and make that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is. We're fortunate that we have about half sort of that piece. If we didn't have this one little chunk down here, we showed you guys in the last episode that we worked on this. If we didn't have this, I wouldn't even have a clue how to make it. But we have just enough of that rusty metal there to do it. So,
yeah.
Any questions? Or
no?
Okay.
This is a little out of my area of expertise, this end of it, but
yep, Matt's
I'll do the
painter
best
guy.
I can.
Yeah, Matt's the painter guy. When I run into paint problems, he's the one that I go to say, help! He's bailed me out more than once on stuff. But I thought today would be fun to let you do some metal work, something outside.
Yeah, I don't get into this part very often, so this will be good.
This will remind you why you don't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'll be fun to do something different. So.
Okay, all right. Well, let's grab some ratchet and a pair of pliers. Let's get those studs out. Are those stamped nuts, or are they real nuts?
Yeah, they're stamped nuts.
Okay. I'm wondering if once you get it loose, if that stud will pop up enough that maybe you'll be able to get a bite on it.
Hopefully.
Is the stud spinning?
Yes.
Okay. I grind them off, except I don't want to put the heat into it. Plus, I'd like to try to salvage those nuts.
Right. Yeah, we'll get it one way or another.
Oh yeah, you got a good bite on it. As Chris would say, you got a good purchase on it. Which one you want to do next?
You want to go to that top one?
The very, very top one up here?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, second to the top.
The top one that I can see.
Boy, that was hard to get a bite on. So give it a little spin. Let's see if we can get it loosened just enough to get... Okay. Well, try that. Don't have much of a bite on it, but I don't need much of a bite. Oh, we're 3 hours into the job, and we've got 2 done. All right. We got all those out of there now, so Matt's going to go through with a big chunk of gravel on the end of the grinder and get that panel cleaned up, so we're sure we're good to go, and then we'll be ready to start doing some fabrication. Okay, so what I'm thinking, Matt, is we got a piece of cardboard there. Let's make a piece, we'll fold that, and it doesn't even have to be that whole length. We can chop it off. Let's just get an idea what the profile is going to look like going from here across and down and in and then down to follow the widest parts of all that. So what I'm thinking we'll do is we're going to make this in 2 pieces. We'll make the piece that comes this way first, here and here. And then we'll make another one that goes here and here. And the one that's on the outside can be longer because we got lots of room underneath, and then that other piece can butt up against it. We can tack weld it in place and then take it out, cut it on the backside, weld it on the backside.
That makes sense.
We probably want to weld it on the inside too, but
So you're gonna want to try to make a template with this.
yeah, I think so.
Of the whole thing.
Yeah, just one big template to get an idea of what we're looking at. I may not have made that long enough, so we may need to cut it this way and bend it, do it the other way. I don't know. I just
Well, you want me to just take it like
let's do it
this?
like that. Yeah, and extra long is good. You want a marker or just do the bends by hand?
I guess this stuff bends pretty easy, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. You can just kind of bend it around
Whatever your
there.
preferred method is.
I don't care. We're just ballparking. So
Yep.
the hardest part of this is going to be there's a slight curvature in that. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. And we can't use that exactly because we're putting the cardboard on the outside, so the dimension's going to be wrong.
It's going to be a little bit smaller than what this cardboard is, right? Yeah.
Right. So once we get this figured out, what we can actually do is take this and just cut that chunk out right there and use that as our pattern.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
But I don't want to do that until we get dimensioned where those holes are and where those tabs are. Okay, so I went through and measured where the tabs are here, and Matt's just double checking everything to make sure I got it right.
Yeah, it appears as though it's the same.
Okay, good. Assuming that's uniform, and I would assume it is because this one's in the center. That those two would be in the same position up there. So, and it kind of looks that way from what I'm seeing. The way this metal is here, it had a tab in here. You can see just a little more of where this width is here. This one's longer, so the tab had to have been there. So that's a good clue. Okay, so we know where those were. The question becomes, do we cut that piece out now and use that as our pattern? I don't know.
Me neither. You're the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident that are we off a little bit there? We are. From here, I can see that this line needs to be up a little bit. So surgically, I cut here so that this can come out, but there was a trim screw, and I think there's a tack weld. So now we're going to try to carefully peel. Matt just ground the screw off, and we're going to try to carefully peel that out of there so we can keep this piece intact as a pattern for where we're going next. Matt's just drilling out the spot weld so we can try to surgically remove that. I think you got it. Not quite. I heard it snap. I think it came loose. Okay, so we got that first piece cut that will take us past the center. So we want to make that that bend in here now based on your template. Which way was that? I don't remember. Like that, right?
Yes.
And this was
the trunk side.
okay. See, I confused myself. Okay, so this was the trunk side. Okay. Okay, yes, and we were going to, yeah, that should be where that bend is. Oh yeah, okay, yep, and there's my line. Okay, good. So that's ish where our line needs to be. So we'll draw a line down that, and then we'll put that in the brake and bend it. So we've got it test fitted, we bent it, we nipped out the corner where it needs to be, and we discovered that on this end, we're just a little wide, so Matt's gonna just grind that edge down, so that it's easier for us to stretch it, because we have to stretch this whole edge here to make the curvature for that back window. So Matt's just tightening up the edge. It's a little bit not radiused enough. You said this is your first time doing any shrinking and stretching?
Yeah, I've never used one of these. I've seen them before, but I've never used them before.
They are an amazing tool for the money.
I can see how this comes in handy for what we're doing here.
As I'm looking at it, Matt, I'm also thinking that this end has a little more swoop to it than it does down the middle. So
we'll want to back off as we get further
back
down.
off as we go, and we'll probably go another 6 inches or so, and then we'll check it on the car and see where we're at. But yeah, you're getting quite a curve in there, so that's good. There's a lot more curvature in that window than you realize.
Definitely.
To me, I just, wow, that thing's really moving now, so we're probably getting lighten up a little bit.
Okay.
And that thing that moved an inch probably, so. I get a lot more enjoyment out of this than swiping my credit card buying stuff.
Yeah, I can see how this can actually be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Do you think you want to test fit this?
Yeah, why don't we?
Okay.
So we feel like from this end here is about right, but we need to shrink it on the inside a little bit to get it to lay down in where it belongs. So Matt's going to go down and do that for a while here. We're using 19 gauge steel here, by the way, so this stuff is pretty thick, and the reason we're using it is because of the complex weld we're going to have to do. We want to have a lot of material to be able to grind and not worry about thinning things out too much. Let's test fitter, Matt, see what you got.
Oh, that's a lot better, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting close.
Yep. So, that's the thing with metalwork like this, is it's little nibbles, little nibbles, and little nibbles take you a long way. So you can see that we need some more curvature in here. And there's probably a slight amount in here, but, our angle is getting off in here. We're going to have to deal with that. So that'll mess us up a little bit. But we're really, really close, I think.
Yeah, we gained a lot.
Yes. We were just commenting on how, if we showed you every step of this, the video would be 6 hours long, and you would be sleeping within about 20 minutes. So a lot of shrinking and stretching, but the last of it was just some hammer work to try to get things a little bit better. So why don't you show them what we got, Matt? Well, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, we got, I think we're a little high in here yet, but I'm not too concerned about that. That'll just be a matter of putting it back on that dolly. I know our angle is off in here a little bit, so we'll have some work to do. But we're close. So we have to remember that the other thing we have to do is make the piece that goes in here, that little, and then bends the other way. And the curvature of that is going to help that curvature in there as well. But I think overall it's pretty good. It's a good start. I don't want to cut any of this out yet, which will help that fit better until we get this other piece inside done, because I'm concerned if we take this metal out, I don't know what's going to happen to the contour of this, and right now that's a good contour for us to use to make the inner part that we need to make. So after spending 2 hours shrinking and stretching, what do you think, Matt?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Takes time to get there, so
yeah.
It's kind of fun though.
Yeah,
It's the first time I've ever had any experience on shrinking and stretching metal, so
it's fun to see how this affects that and that affects this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And a little bit goes a long way.
It does.
I learned that.
The other thing we can do is we can put that in the bead roller and flatten some of that out if we have to.
Okay.
So we can do that also.
Yeah, it's kind of fun actually.
It is. Yeah. To me, it's just hours of. Because it's a lot more fun to me than swiping my credit card and buying something. I find such therapy in it.
I can understand that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go get some lunch.
Cool.
Matt's sitting back admiring his handiwork. This one went way faster and way better than this one did, because we learned a lot on this one. But I think both pieces are workable.
Yeah, that went
Yeah.
a lot faster on the second one.
And some of it is shorter. But we did cut them off, with just so they fit together nicely there. The angle on this one, I think, is a little bit better than the angle on this one, so we'll have to do some hammer and dolly work there to tighten that up. Definitely can see where it's splayed in here. Another way we could do that is in the bead roller, so we can think about some options there. But I think overall it's pretty good, and I think it's workable. I don't think we need to remake this piece or anything, so I think once we start welding it in. So I think the next step now, I don't know how much time you have left today, but the next step is to make the inner piece that goes in here inside of there, because that will give us the curvature exactly of what we need on the outside part.
Yep,
so
that makes sense.
Yep. So we won't use these as the guide for that. We'll use the back window pan as the guide for what that angle should be like.
Right. Okay.
And we'll make that in two pieces. And maybe what we'll do is we'll make this one the longer one inside and this one the shorter one.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's put this under the glass. Yeah, we can put it under the glass. It'd be better if we had a board in there, but go ahead and set her down. There's a method to my thinking here. I might as well snuggle that right down to the bottom here. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And then I'm lacking a little bit over here, so maybe we can lift this and shimmy it my way a little bit. That should be pretty close there.
I got a quarter on this end, so
yeah, we're
you got
99% there. I don't have the glass is still over just a little bit.
Okay, go ahead and take it, because I got still quarter inch here. That do it?
Yep.
Okay, now we just gotta. There we go.
You want to grab a marker? Got it.
I'm hoping this is the way we should be doing this.
This makes sense to me. I'm not.
Yeah, it is, because we're trying to make the inside curvature of we got to do the other way also, but right now we're just trying to make that inside curvature of what that metal looks like that goes against the pieces that we just made, so we're 100% sure, because we can tweak that now as we're going along. Once we have these edges cut in that piece that we're going to make, we can tweak that to fit it so it fits perfectly.
Right.
Okay, good. Thanks. So what we'll do is, let's see, we still want to leave this wide so that there's no flex in the cardboard.
Yeah, that you mentioned that it would be nice to keep it big.
It's if we use the thin piece of cardboard where the tape joint is, there's a good chance
it'll just flex.
It'd deflect.
Yeah.
Yep. So
good.
So we're done with this for now.
Okay.
I'm going to do the right thing and put this over here, because we'll need it one more time.
You had some scissors out here, and I don't remember where
Yes,
they were.
there's real scissors in the toolbox, I think.
In your red toolbox?
Yeah, the big red toolbox.
Okay.
All right, after a lot of cogitating and brain hurting. So this edge here is the same curvature as the back of the car for the pieces that we just made. And what we're doing by using this is, that way Matt can stretch this stuff to match that contour exactly as we're going along, so that we know that this edge will line up with those two pieces we made, and these can get their final tweaks so that that curvature is right for going in the car. And then of course this is the piece that the glass sits on right here, and there's going to have to be some work this way as well, but we're not ready for that yet. We just need to get this edge matching that car. And we've got our pieces test fit. We had a little crooked cutting in there, but that's no big deal to deal with. So the next steps here now are going to be to do our trimming in here where those trim screws go for the inside of the car. And then once that's done, it'll be easy enough to bend that in the proper contour for the depth of the glass that goes in here. So overall, I think we're in pretty good shape. We've got a good foundation. I took and hammered this out to make that edge a lot sharper. I still need to do that piece. But overall, it's a big step forward. What do you think, Matt?
This was a lot of fun.
Good.
got me out of the paint booth for the day, and a little different experience than I'm used to.
Yeah, I was telling him earlier that this isn't something that you just take somebody that's had no experience and throw them into. This was a pretty complicated thing, and we're nowhere done with it yet. But you had enough metalworking experience that it wasn't, like you'd never cut metal and worked with.
Yeah,
metal
I know
before.
the basics.
Yeah,
Done a little bit of this, but never anything in this in depth. So this was a lot of fun.
cool.
Other than hopefully you can work with a few of my crooked cuts.
It's again, none of it's. If we wanted really straight edges, we would use the plasma cutter with a straight edge. So for what we're doing, this is fine.
Yep. I want to come back and do some more.
Well, you're always welcome. You know that. So
Yeah, this was
pretty
great.
much every weekend I'm out here. So
Well, I appreciate it.
yeah, thanks. So Matt had to take off. He had stuff to do, and it was great to hang out. We haven't hung out together for a long time. But what I want to do is get these contours on here, like so, like this, where they go. And because it will make this easier to bend this piece once it's all trimmed up the way it should be. So just making these tabs like so, and then we're coming across like so, etc., etc., etc. I'm not even worried about drilling the holes at this point. I just want to get the tabs where they go, so you can see kind of what we're doing, and that's close enough. And then I just need to make my cut across here and leave myself that small thin margin like we have here. That'll make this a whole lot easier to bend the contour of the okay, so we got a thing here I got to figure out, because I got a thing. So if you see, we got it laid out now, and these tabs line up here close enough, and those tabs line up there, so we're good. So now we can go through and mark out that little margin we want to put over that edge. But first I want to go along here. I think, no, I don't need to have this. I don't need to have this edge crispy like I do the one on the car, because this is just under the glass. So if this edge isn't crispy, that's not a big deal. So these will butt up against each other, bzz, bzz, and I'll make myself a little line there, and we'll get it cut. And just like that, we now have that part kind of replicated on those parts. And that will make it easier now to bend the contour of it, how it fits around the bottom of the glass, and how it tags onto that other piece of metal that's on the car. Now, it's not in there the way, permanently or anything like that, but it's just roughed in place. So then the next step we have to do is make these pieces follow the contour perfectly of the glass. And then once we get that done, we can bring it into a correct dimension and weld it in place. So we're really close, and I'm really out of time for today. But I think that's a really nice job done. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. Look forward to you coming back and hanging out again for a day here in the shop. Wow, that is huge. The elements are there. So as I said, now the next step is to take it to the glass and get the contour this way to match, so that when we lay the glass in and we lay our bead in of glue that holds the window in, everything is, copacetic. And the nice thing about a glue-in window is it doesn't have to be perfect. You can have some variances in your silicone. But yeah, this is, I was kind of, I don't want to say dreading this, and not that at all, but I knew it was going to be very complicated and complex. And I was thrilled when Matt said he wanted to come out. Originally, I was going to have he and I work on painting the grill for the 47, and I just wasn't ready for that. And I thought, he paints every single day. Let's do something he hasn't done before, something that maybe he can learn some new skills. And it seemed like he had a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. I know you can buy this panel for about $150 if you can find it. That's great. Yes, we spent all day out here, but I promise you, for us, for me, and I think for what he said, this was a whole lot more fun making this stuff by hand than swiping a credit card and buying something. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you like to do, but around here, stitches is about stitches because we're stitching it back together. I want to get this part done before we put the trunk floor in the car so that we're not messing up our pretty new trunk floor. So there's a lot more coming on this. We're going to cut and butt this in place once it's done. I need to do some hammer and dolly on this side. Like I said, get those curvatures right. Need to get the back here cleaned up, etc., etc., etc. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for hanging out in the shop. Thanks for coming out and helping, Matt. I appreciate it. And don't forget, we'll catch you on the next one. Ha! Psyched you out, didn't I? Wrong!